Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business and the silly editions. These are recorded live Fridays 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to see the madness as it unfolds live, come on by and join us. Let's go ahead and get diving on in. We have a lot of business news here, but I think some of them will be pretty quick. Just some simple updates. First, Vivaldi, any Vivaldi fans up there, they are adding an update to block the annoying cookie pop-ups. I might switch to Vivaldi full time. That's nothing is more annoying than cookie pop-ups. Now, I'm saying it might render some sites inoperable, but that's okay. But like you get things like this. I don't know. Your privacy. Here's a thought, Guardian. If you're all concerned about my privacy, don't collect my damn data. Just a thought. Just a thought. Wowzers. They do, of course, have a built-in ad blocker there as well, but now they want to block. Cookie pop-ups. That would be epic. Maybe everyone else will do that. All right, CentOS has a replacement AlmaLinux. I think we looked at one of these. I don't know. But AlmaLinux, this now has commercial support options. So we're very much like Red Hat here. You can install it, you can use it, and you can also pay for some commercial options. Supposedly completely compatible with CentOS. It is branded as the new CentOS. And so if you are in need of a commercial subscription for support, you can go ahead and do that. Or if you want to spin it up and support it yourself with forums, you can go ahead and do that as well. So that is AlmaLinux. You can go ahead and see that. And I can't remember if that's the one I recently chatted about with their press release. I just can't remember exactly off the top. All right, and Spotify users. Spotify's raising prices for a lot of its plans. The United States single-use plans are not actually going up, but family plans will go up, and all of the personal plans in UK and Europe are also going up. And if I remember correctly, I think that right about the time all these prices are going up, I think the CEO is trying to buy a yacht or something. I don't know. He's trying to buy some big name thing, or maybe it's another company. I forget. I remember something about somebody involved in this price hike wanting to buy extra crap for himself or whatever else. But anyway, you guys are going to see an increase in the United States. The family plan going to $14.99 to $15.99. Duo Premium and student prices remains the same for now. In UK, the student is going from $4.95 to $5.95. And the Duo for two people from $12 to $13. Family also will go from $14 to $16. So if you are using Spotify, be aware those price changes are coming. Hey, let's get everybody addicted to it and then jack up the prices. It's the drug deal move, right? Well, Calibri, or is it called Calibri? Different people pronounce it different ways. I always say Calibri. It's probably Calibri is probably right because I say Calibri. And this one is the default Office font for Windows, of course. It is now going by the way of Clippy. Clippy is coming out bent as a hook, pulling the font back. And so I believe what they're doing is they're soliciting feedback for a new version. They should just go back to Times New Roman. Everything else is going back to the old days of insanity. Why not, right? So all the good defaults that aren't Mac, startup chime at least, must someday come to an end. What do you mean? The Mac got rid of their startup chime? People Ars Technica are kind of crazy. Microsoft announced Office font since 2007. Everyman Sans Serif Calibri would soon join Clippy, Internet Explorer, and the Windows 8 Start button in the big Windows graveyard in the sky. Been default font for all things Microsoft since 2007 when it stepped in to replace Times New Roman across Office. Design team opined in Calibri's de facto obit. It served us well, but we believe it's time to evolve. So, what's the next one? So these are the candidates. If you ask me, of all of these candidates, I like Tenorite the best. I think that one should probably be the next font. I think that it's nice, it's soft, it's smooth, and it's easy to read. So those are some of the defaults there. But anyway, you can go ahead and hunt down if Microsoft wants your opinion on that. That'd be all cool. Well, Apple, this is interesting. This kind of goes along the line with the video I did. I think it was last week or was it the week before? I forget. It was the video where we were talking about you don't own anything anymore. Either last week or 2 weeks ago. Well, this is kind of suing Apple on that topic. Apple is being sued for suggesting customers can buy TV shows and movies, and the reality is that Apple can revoke these at any time. This is going to be an important lawsuit to watch because whatever happens here is going to happen in the ebook market. It's going to happen everywhere. So the idea is you can buy a TV show and a movie, but Apple can pull it out. The fact of the matter is, though, is that Amazon does the same thing. They can pull things in and out. There was a wildly popular book on Amazon that it had a lot of scientific facts, and Amazon didn't like them because certain segments of the population didn't like the book. They pulled it. They never let the publisher know for a couple of months. I think it was 3 weeks. I actually know the publisher. He said they didn't hear anything, and they couldn't even get comment from Amazon for 3 weeks. Amazon just pulled it. And initially, people who'd bought the book were still able to access it, but even that became questionable at times. And so with this, the rise of digital content distribution and consumption platforms like Netflix, Steam, Spotify, the concept of content ownership is becoming a thing of the past. When you buy a song or movie from a service like iTunes, you're entering into a long-term rental agreements. Now, that's not entirely true because when you buy an MP3 on iTunes, you do have the right to pull it down and to save it off of Apple's platform. But as far as movies and other things, that is indeed part of it true. You gain a license to access the content at will, but it can be revoked at any time. Guys, I did an entire video on this very recently. It is absolutely worth watching. We go into a lot of caveat and nuance of this very trend. So some California consumers take an issue with the concept. They're forcing Apple to stand trial over it. The plaintiffs in the Sacramento case don't necessarily have a problem with licensing content in general. They just don't like how Apple tells its iTunes customers that their purchased content has been bought. So that basically it deals with the word buy. And I would push this further and say, no, if you're going to have the option to buy, I need to own it and control it. But the same thing happens with ebooks. You can buy an ebook that's DRM free, or you can buy an ebook that's not DRM free. If it's not DRM, if it's DRM free, you can take that book, you can put it in your own personal library, and you can have it. And as long as you maintain a copy of that digital file, you can access it. If it's locked with DRM, then they can pull that at any time they want. And so that's really what is at the hinging point of this particular case. Well, Nestle is threatened with a cease and desist over illegal water usage. Nestle is a garbage company. I generally try not to buy anything from Nestle if I can help it. They particularly with the water, can people not go in and just bring a bottle of water anyway? You got to go to the store and get all these, when bottled water first started showing up, I think it was the early 2000s when bottled water started to become really popular and pervasive. It's why aren't these environmentalist psychos yelling at the bottled water? But what happens with Nestle is they'll come in, they'll try and set up a water bottling manufacturer plant, and then they just drain the water systems. They'll completely drain the water table until it's basically a desolate wasteland. Then they close down the factory and go rape some other landscape. They tried to come to State College here, just right kind of in the middle of town, and we kicked them out. They lost a lawsuit over it. They even sued over it. They lost the lawsuit, and they had a lot of big setbacks recently. But what happens is they actually have some waterways that now they bought Perrier in 92. Perrier was founded in 1894, and when it was founded, they purchased some waterways in California, and so it was based on, now they only could pull out enough water that fit in a certain number of train cars. So at that time, they were limited on how much water they could pull out of California. Well, Nestle is pumping out basically so much water out of the water tables, it's risking sending California into another wildfire drought. and people are not particularly amused. So Nestle's coming down and saying, oh no, these cars can hold 15,000 gallons. In other words, Nestle's pulling out several million gallons per year. What is it? So they're going from, it's in here somewhere. I forget what the millions is. So I think it's like something like 20 million gallons of water they're pulling out of the California water tables that are feeding the Los Angeles Valley, I believe. And the state says that no, they only have the capability of drawing 2.36 million gallons. So a significant decrease. And so they're sending out a cease and desist, and Nestle is... if the court case is successful, they will be fined $1,000 per day or $10,000 per day if a drought is declared. So here is a company, and by the way, Nestle, the CEO of Nestle, believes that water is not a human right. Quote, one opinion, which I think is extreme, is represented by NGOs who bang on about declaring water a public right. That means that as a human being, you should have the right to water. That's an extreme solution. The other view says that water is a foodstuff like any other, and like any other foodstuff, it should have a market value. Personally, I believe it's better to give a foodstuff a value so we're aware of it and it has a price. And then one should take specific measures for the part of the population that has no access to the water, and if there are many different possibilities there. I'm sorry. You are so far off your rocker, you should be hung up somewhere. That is insane. Oh no, you cannot have access to water. Okay, I can completely get behind Coca-Cola being a foodstuff. I don't have the right to have you hand me your Coca-Cola, but I should have the ability to go and get water from a stream if that is my recourse option, and then purify it the way I can for my personal use. And this company wants to come and say, oh no, we own the water. It's our commodity. We're going to suck it dry and then turn around and sell it to you. You poor little scoundrel. You must pay us for the water. That is so insane. I'm lost on words at this point, at least words that won't get us banned or, whatever else. But yeah, I mean, water should be a human right, okay? I'm not saying that Nestle should be forced to give everybody bottled water. Like, why do I not have a problem with paying the municipal water supply their water bill as it is? Couple $100 every few months, whatever I'm paying now, right? Why? Well, because the city's cleaning it, they're purifying it, they're distributing it, they have to pay for the pipes. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, for a matter of convenience, going out to the ball game and buying a bottled water for convenience because I'm there. But to sit there and tell me that no, nobody has right to the water except the business owners that have the water supply, I'm sorry, somebody's a moron and needs to be, we'll end that sentence right about there. So there we have it, guys. Nestle is a garbage company. Don't support them. All right. Uber and Lyft stock plunges after Biden official says drivers are employees. This has been back and forth. Are they employers? Are they contracts? Are employees? Are contracts? Are employees? Are contracts? It kind of depends. So now a current administration says, oh no, they're employees, period. Here's a simple solution that I think would clear this up. Really, because this is kind of what's at the core of it. The problem is that if there's no real employees to do the job that's core to your business, then yeah, the people you hire are employees. So what Uber and Lyft should do, and this would satisfy every law as it's been interpreted through years, what they should do is they should go in and, based on the population of the city and the number of cities, they should have a certain set of full-time employees, or employees of some form or another. Okay, they should be employees of some form or another. And so what they do then is they bring on the employees to carry some percentage of the user base in that city, and then everybody else who wants to be a driver, they are then contractors. That completely satisfies all of I think it's the S8 or the S9, the means test to determine if somebody's a contractor or employer. It's simple. It's just a certain percentage of the individual users, a certain percentage of the users should have a employee designated in that given city. That would take care of it. That really would. Because, I mean, I'm completely split on this because I think in one hand, they should have some full-time drivers as employees. But on the other hand, if somebody else says, hey, I want to use my spare time driving Uber, go for it. I just think that this type of gig economy stuff is probably worse for us than better for us. But, that's kind of my own take. All right, and on to our final article. Is this the end of the internet? Well, the EU just put new rules into effect for a quick and smooth removal of terrorist content online. So what the new laws are saying is from the point something is brought to the attention of the company, the point the company's notified about it, they have 1 hour to take down suspect content. What? So the first thing, platforms will have a maximum of 1 hour to remove flag content. Well, this means that somebody has to be perpetually monitoring, and you will have to have a number of employees perpetually monitoring the amount of stuff with the capability of removing things and have a system that is super highly effective and efficient. Now, the second thing is there's no need, no requirement specifically for algorithms, although the companies that have algorithms are going to be able to catch stuff automatically. The companies that don't will not. And so that in and of itself is a problematic thing. So they're like, this is the bone to throw out, but it's a meaningless bone because it just means that the companies that cannot have the algorithms and do not have the money to have a full-time staff monitoring this system at all times, they are going to go out of business. This is nothing but empowering the large corporate media. And last point, there's no obligation to monitor it. But the content must be removed within 1 hour. Hosting service providers will have to remove or disable access to flagged content in all member states within 1 hour of receiving a removal order from the competent authority. Well, that means nothing should ever be out because I've never seen a competent government authority. So maybe this doesn't mean anything after all. I mean, what is the competent government authority? Darn it! They will adopt rules on penalties to the degree which take into account the nature of the breach and the size of the company responsible. So hopefully there's it's got to be over a certain size. Protection. There is a line for protection of educational, artistic, research, and journalistic material, but I bet it will not be applied unilaterally. No general obligation to filter content, and then there's some extra information here. So there we have it, and they have 12 months to get this into effect. That's the type of ruling that can kill the internet. That is indeed. I mean, without being hyperbolic about it, that's kind of insane. Well, you can help support the channel with our affiliates. Today we are highlighting ExpressVPN, tlm.li/EV. This is moved up into that #1 VPN spot, even among people who study the VPNs. And this guy here will allow you to have 5 different devices connected. You can actually also put it into like a pfSense router and encrypt your entire network on one single input-output device. And you can actually have a pass-through to allow some applications on your system go through the ClearNet and the rest of them go through the VPN. So go ahead and head on over to our affiliates there, tlm.li/EV. Click your Get Started button up here in the corner and get yourself a good VPN. Now let's have a look at some silly news. So first up in SillyVille, an inventive grandson builds a Telegram messaging machine for his 96-year-old grandmother. So Telegram, of course, is a thing, but the grandmother's like, I can't use this finagled new tech you got, kiddo. And so he builds this ingenious device. So this lady apparently has how many notches you see on this guy here? So what she does is she pulls out the cable and puts the cable in the name of the grandchild that she wants to talk to. And then she pushes the button and talks. And then this thing will translate that into a Telegram message and will send the Telegram message to the grandkid. And then when the grandkid wants to write a message back, they send it back and it converts that into text and it prints the message out on this little print. Genius child! Future genius here. So this is called Yanagram, and Yana is it's a name for, let's see, Yana is slang for granny and Castilian, says Dallier. A warm way to refer to your grandmother. So to send a message, user physically plugs the cable next to the recipient's name, then press and hold a button to record audio and speak into the integrated microphone. The message then appears on the recipient's phone like a regular voice note. Then when the operator of the Yanagram receives it, it's printed off using the built-in thermal printer. Here's a close-up, maybe, of the picture. It's not a better picture there, but basically it has all of the names of the grandchildren listed there. So she just pops it out, boom, and then there it is. Look at that. Happens when you send a text back to your granny. Well, Yanagram prints out thermal paper so they can touch it and read it like the old telegrams. That is so awesome. So that's kind of a cool thing. So here's a picture, I guess, with where'd it go, man? I want to see that picture. There you go. There he is with Grandma. That is just epic. That is cool. So there we have it, guys. That is silly, but definitely an amazing and ingenious device. Well, if you lost internet up there in Canada, then talk to the beaver, So cable-chewing beavers take out an entire town's internet in a uniquely Canadian outage. They dug a 3-foot hole and chewed through the fiber conduit and the cable itself. 900 internet users in Tumble Ridge, British Columbia lost service for 36 hours when the beavers chewed through an underground fiber cable in what network operator TELUS calls a very bizarre and uniquely Canadian turn of events. Our team located the nearby beaver dam. It appears the beavers have dug underground along the creek to reach our cable, which is buried there about 3 feet underground and protected by a 4.5-inch thick conduit. Beavers first chewed through the conduit before chewing through the cable in multiple locations. Oh, joy. There we have it. So if you lost internet down there in Canada, that's what happened. Beavers ate your stuff. And finally, an Oklahoma woman is charged with felony for not returning a VHS tape 21 years ago. Here's the funny thing. If this is the alleged movie, you'll notice that the alleged movie is stolen. So apparently, the video rental place turned her over to collections for a tape that they rented her that they stole. Because this is not what Sabrina the Teenage Witch would actually look like. But what she said, actually, is that this was probably rented. She never rented it. She said it was probably rented by a roommate of hers at the time who just happened to use her address and maybe didn't have the official address there or whatever. And so they just sued whoever they found attached to the address. So what happened is she got married and she contacted, the state to change her last name. The state turns back and says, hey, you have an arrest warrant. Go call this law enforcement agency. They call him up and she has felony embezzlement charges for failure to return a VHS tape. So in the total ridiculousness of this all, it was, of course, dropped. So that's funny, but that's kind of an interesting story there. So obviously statute of limitations, any lawyer would be like, statute of limitations, yo. But at the same time, it is quite funny that she has a felony warrant out for her arrest for not returning a videotape in March of 2000. I mean, what is a videotape? For you younger people in the crowd, this is called a VHS tape. What is it? I don't know. What did VHS stand for? It's like video home studio. Was it? I don't know. Somebody tell me what VHS meant. One of you guys knows what VHS actually meant. But you used to put this thing in a little thing called the VCR, and then you played it. VCR was video cassette recorder, I think it was. I don't know. Yeah, let me know in the description down there. So anyway, there we have it, guys. Don't forget, return all your rented stuff, because you might have the police coming after you in 20 years if you fail to return it. I mean, what would happen if they found it and she didn't even rewind it? I mean, get to the gulag, lady. To the gulag. I'm telling you. Well, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux. You can jump in over here. We have 4 tiers there. You can jump on over there and help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.